What's up, my wonderful peeps? Sports of the Bone here again, man. Shout out to all the viewers, the subscribers, and the followers. Big up on yourself. So, I have a couple of results for you guys, and we are talking about the regional Super 50 tournament that is currently going on. Yesterday, we had Barbados taking on the Leeward Islands, and earlier today we had Jamaica taking on Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. No, it was Barbados that won the toss and decided to bat first. And fresh off a defeat to the Guyana Jaguars, I am assuming that Captain Jason Ola was harboring thoughts of leading the Pride to victory this time around. Both openers seemed, to be in good nick. We're talking about McCaskey and Greaves. They got off to a relatively good start as they clobbered the bowlers to all different parts of the field. Now, in 9 overs, they actually rushed to 67 without loss. And, it was actually a strong recovery because they only got 7 runs off the first 4 overs. So, after 4 overs, they went to work and they really clobbered the bowlers. Now, the two actually pushed the total to 82 before the partnership was broken. Now, the good thing about this is that the two openers, they were able to make sure that the Pride got off to a good start, a solid start, so the others could come and build on that foundation. Now, Brooks and Jonathan Carter were able to put together half centuries to help push the Pride to a good score. And they eventually ended up getting 301 for 8 of their 50 overs. So we had Brooks with 96. He was able to bat. Well, he batted very well. Eventually gave it away. Didn't manage to get the century. So he was removed for 96. And Jonathan Carter, he contributed 58. So those two guys, they were really the ones that built the innings together. But Swaney picked up 4 for 62, while Hayden Walsh Jr., he got 3 for 75 off his 10 overs. So those were the two bowlers that were able to pick up a couple of wickets. And that's basically how the Barbados Pride innings went. 301 for 8 of their 50 overs. Now, in reply, the Leewards, they actually got off to a relatively good start with both Powell's, pushing the score to 56 before Kyron Powell was run out. So both Kyron and Ross Powell were actually going very good, but Kyron Powell was run out, and that's how they actually lost the first wicket. Now, when Shamar Holder removed Ross Powell, the score moved to 62 for 2 in the 13th over. So Barbados probably were feeling very good at the moment and thinking that, yeah, we have this one in the bag. Now, with the pressure on, the Leewards were able to strongly fight back, courtesy of Carter, who worked his way to a brilliant half-century in the midst of all the chaos that was going on. Now, when Ashley Nurse removed Kumar for 41, the Volcanoes were actually now at 231 for 5, still having some distance to go as regards to that target. Through all of this, as I said, Carter was there pushing on, ticking over his scores, playing some boundary shots, trying to pull his team along with him. For want of a better word, he was probably trying to drag the team by their neck across the finish line. And, with all of this fight, he actually brought up his century. So we see there Carter getting a century. That was actually very good. It was an innings that was well paced, very well constructed, put together and all of that. So with the Pride still applying the pressure and, closing in on what they thought would have been a relatively easy victory, Hayden Walsh Jr., he came to the crease and he basically turned the game on its head, because in 1 over it took Shamar Ola for 26. He actually slapped Shamar Ola for a couple of 6 and 4s in 1 over and got 26 off it. So that sort of swing back the game in the balance. No, he was still a bit tense, and when Jason Ola removed Hayden Walsh Jr. for his well-played 28 of 9 balls, the game seemed, as if it was actually going down to the wire. And it all came down to 16 from the last 12 balls. But the good thing about it is that Carty, he was still at the crease batting and he was seeing the ball as big as a breadfruit by now. Now, with Shemar Holder interested in bowling the last over, Carty probably was licking his lips, knowing that, they only wanted 4 runs from the last 6 balls, and Shemar Holder was just a couple of overs previously was clobbered by Hayden Walsh Jr. So, you can guess that he probably wasn't very high on confidence. So, Carty probably loved that equation as regards to getting 4 from 6 balls. So going down to the last over, Carty, who ended up being the man of the match because of his wonderful century, he had absolutely no issue getting those 4 runs off the over there. As he drove a ball right back past Shemar Holder down into the boundary and brought up the victory for the Volcanoes. Yeah, man. So we're always saying that, boy, we want our youngsters not only to give the team a good start, but also to try and be there to the end. And Carty would have done just that. And, with that boundary there, it actually meant that Leeward Islands won the game by 4 wickets, hunting down that total of 301. And as I said earlier, Carty, he finished unbeaten on 123 and was rightfully named the man of the match. Now, earlier today we had Jamaica taking on the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. And, I must say the game was pretty entertaining. Probably wasn't as competitive as one would imagine. No, it was the Jamaicans that batted first. And, they managed to go up to a total of 258 for 6. And, one would only think that, boy, with that Trinidad and Tobago team on paper there, 258 for 6 within 50 overs, wouldn't be too difficult to get. But that is what the Jamaicans got. And as they say, runs on the board is runs on the board. And, leading the way was actually Brandon King, who narrowly missed out on a century. He was actually dismissed for 97. So here we have it again, another youngster going pretty close to the 3 figures, but wasn't able to complete it. But he actually set up the innings pretty good for us. Played some lusty blows. Was hitting the ball pretty cleanly. It's just a shame that he didn't manage to get over and get that century. Before the Brandon King show, though, we had Andre McCarthy, who was batting pretty well. He made 40 off 62. And, that actually gave the Jamaicans a solid start. Philip, he was the busiest of the Red Force bowlers, picking up 3 for 66. So that's actually the total, 258 for 6. And as I said earlier, the Red Force probably were licking their lips at it. But anyways, let us just recap and see what happened in the TNT batting innings. So in reply, TNT got off to a weak start as Sheldon Cottrell removed Simmons pretty early to start a peg the Red Force back. But, the experienced team actually staged their fight back as Evan Lewis took O'Shane Thomas to the cleaners. When I say he took him to the cleaners, I mean that he really took him to the cleaners. So moving from 0 for 1, the Red Force moved all the way to 112 as the bowlers continued to toil. Now, it was actually Bulai that broke the partnership when he removed Mohammed for 28. So it was Evan Lewis and Mohammed that were, there giving the Jamaicans some trouble. But Bulai came in and removed Mohammed for 28. Now, this actually brought Darren Bravo to the crease to partner up with Evan Lewis. And, throughout all of this, Lewis, he actually continued his dominance and was able to bring up his half century shortly after. And, he kept on ticking away until he eventually brought up his century with a mighty 6. It was a pretty good inning, so I guess it was a fitting way to bring up his century, hitting a mighty 6 to bring it up. And after bringing up his century, it wasn't really looking too hard for Lewis out there. So one would think that, he would try and use the opportunity to bat out the innings and see if he could see his team to victory. But, he was eventually removed. So he wasn't able to see the team all the way. But all in all, it was a very good innings, a very good knock. He really paced it very well. played some very good shots and was pretty entertaining. Now, Bravo and Puran, they actually put on a good partnership and were able to push the score all the way to 223 for 4 as they went in search of that 258. It was actually our left arm spinner Bulai that came back and removed Puran to peg the Red Force back to 223 for 4. Then in came the Master Blaster, Mr. Pollard. But as soon as he came in, he was actually sent back. He was actually sent packing by Andre McCarthy, who got him out. Now, throughout all of this, Darren Bravo, he was actually still there. And, eventually brought up a patient half-century to keep the fight going for the Red Force. Now, this Mathurin knock off 55 from Darren Bravo, it was actually enough to make sure that the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force got to their total of 258. They actually finished up on 259 for 5, which meant, the Red Force would have won the game by 5 wickets. So there you have it, guys. As regards to our bowling, it was actually McCarthy and Bulai that led the way. They both picked up 2 wickets, but they were actually really expensive because, as I said earlier, Lewis was really in a rampant mood, and as you can see there, Bravo ended up not out on 55, and I think it was Dinesh Ramdin that ended up not out there with Bravo. So Trinidad and Tobago kicking off their campaign with a victory over the Jamaican team. So I guess Ragman Powell and his team will have to regroup and come again for the next game. So that's actually how the cookie crumbled. I mean, we were all probably tuned in last night to the West Indies game. So, I just make sure I take the time out to keep you guys up to date with what is going on in the regional competition. So, Leeward Islands victorious over Barbados, and Trinidad and Tobago getting the better of Jamaica. But that's basically it, guys. Sports to the bone, keeping you informed. Please remember to like, share, leave us a comment. If you have not yet subscribed, remember to subscribe to the channel. I'm out.